Following Kody Brown's bombshell disclosure about his previous marriage to Meri Brown, Sister Wives fans are still in shock. Meri told her best friend Jen what had happened to her wedding ring on a recent episode. Meri disclosed that Kody had melted down his wedding ring from their marriage when reflecting on her history. As she considered the true meaning of that action, the talk quickly became emotional. Jen didn't hold back when explaining Kody's logic, therefore her response also spoke it all. However, what made Kody feel the need to demolish a memento of his first union? And years later, what did Meri share about her feelings about it? Learn more about the ring that caused a fresh scandal in the Sister Wives universe by reading on. Sister Wives stars Christine and Janelle Brown had already discussed the notorious ring incident prior to Meri's confession airing. The two talked about how badly Meri had been wounded by Kody's choice to melt his wedding band during the Season 18 tell-all special. "I think it bothered Meri when he melted down the wedding ring because she's very sentimental about the ring she gave Kody," Janelle said. Christine concurred, describing Meri's processing as really hard. As Christine described the gesture's history, the realization struck. Meri saw that Kody had stopped wearing the ring from their 1990 wedding after he had met and married Robyn. Kody nonchalantly admitted that he had melted it down when she questioned him about it, stating that he didn't want Meri to have any power or control over him. Both Christine and Janelle were taken aback by the statement, which they interpreted as a sign of Kody's increasing emotional detachment. While traveling to New York City with her friend Jen, Meri Brown shared her perspective with the audience in the most recent Sister Wives episode. Jen brought up the wedding band during their conversation and inquired as to whether Kody had actually melted it. Meri explained that she kept her ring even though Kody had burned his. She further disclosed that a necklace that Kody later gave her was made from the remaining melted gold, while some of it was used to create jewelry for their children. Meri said in her confessional that the whole thing was just weird. "He did save some of the gold and diamonds and turn them into a necklace for me. I persuaded him to do it years later." Meri remembered that Kody had once stated that he didn't want her to have any claim over him, in response to Jen's question about why he wouldn't let her have his ring. Jen responded bluntly, calling Kody a asshat for his logic. He didn't want Meri to feel she had more claim on him than his former wives, Christine and Janelle. Kody later justified on camera. Fans, however, weren't persuaded. The action was interpreted by many as a sign of Kody's emotional distance from Meri long before their formal breakup. Some of the incidents in the Sister Wives universe are so stunning that they make viewers feel like they belong in the vault of the most heartbreaking, poignant, and symbolic betrayals that have ever been shown on television. There has been grief disguised as spiritual obligation, silence disguised as loyalty, and separation disguised as a new normal in the lengthy, convoluted, ugly, and sad story of Kody and Meri Brown. Now, though, according to a recent rumor, Kody may have gone even farther than simply emotionally separating from Meri by melting her wedding band so she would never have no claim on him again. This rewrites the meaning of their fallout in a way that no one anticipated. It sounds dramatic. It has a theatrical sound. Instead of sounding like a plural marriage, it seems symbolic, as you might anticipate from a movie scene. However, reality frequently seems weirder than fiction in the Sister Wives universe. Furthermore, since it was more than just a ring, the symbolism of that purported deed has greater impact than words. It was the final tangible link binding two people to a once eternal commitment. There was a ring before the official divorce, before the catfishing incident, before the most ruthless statement ever made on the show, "I don't consider myself married." As the first wife, the original wife, the one with the legal status, the romantic plot, and the emotional seniority, Meri Brown wore it with pride at one point. It represented years of courting, sacrifices, and creating the poly-family ideal with Kody. Because Meri still felt that there was something valuable to save, she kept that wedding ring for years even as everything else was falling away. Status wasn't a factor. It had to do with history. Being noticed was the goal. Therefore, it wouldn't just mean that Kody ended the marriage if the allegation is accurate, and he did, in fact, melt Meri's ring as a last act of separation. That would imply that he removed the meaning. He took the memory out. The evidence that she once meant everything was erased by him. Not in a speech. Not with a farewell. However, with fire. The gossip is a wonderful metaphor for their relationship in many ways. Their marriage dissolved gradually over the years rather than all at once. Communication breakdowns were followed by embarrassment in public and emotional desertion. Only symbols remained to melt by the time the divorce papers and confessions were released. Particularly in several marriages, a ring is more than just ornament. It stands for position, validity, the right, even in a casual or spiritual sense, to be acknowledged as a wife. Meri wasn't just kicked out of the marriage. Little by little, moment by moment, episode by episode, she was wiped out. The question still stands: what would motivate such a severe move, regardless of whether the rumor is literal or symbolic? There are a number of options. 1. Strength: the person in charge of the story is physically shown by taking off the ring. He ends it on his terms if he melts it. 2. Finalization: perhaps it was a purging of emotions. Perhaps in order to go on with Robyn and his reorganized life, he had to destroy the past. 3. Fury: frustration, resentment, and humiliation marked the end of their partnership. Instead of being a sign of affection, the ring might have come to represent treachery. 4. Command of the narrative: Meri might wear the ring, display it, and use it as evidence of what was once there if she still possessed it. She loses the ability to retain the symbolism when she destroys it. Furthermore, symbolism is quite important in a family when loyalty is exchanged for spiritual and emotional commitments. You can be certain that Meri felt the ring in ways that go beyond words if it was melted, either physically or figuratively. Her sorrow was never audible. She didn't attack or yell. She refrained from destroying pictures or launching into tirades on social media. Rather, she sat in confessional rooms, her heart slowly exploding behind plastered faces. Despite having very little desire, she was unable to fulfill it. She was not pleading for love. Legality was not what she was requesting. All she wanted was recognition. She wanted attention. Furthermore, even that final connection would be rejected if the melted ring were real. Imagine destroying something that symbolizes almost 3 decades of sacrifice, family development, and shared memories. It's not the same as throwing away clothing or erasing pictures. Like a marriage, a ring is intentionally constructed. The forging is reversed when it melts, to break the pledge. Nothing is being thrown away. It's not making it. Fans who heard the news were understandably shocked and devastated, especially those who secretly hoped that Meri and Kody would one day patch up their relationship. Meri was shackled to a theoretical marriage for a very long time. She might have been freed by the ring, if it is no longer there. Whether intentionally or not, Kody's decisions no longer define her. She is creating a persona separate from the Brown heritage. It was hard for her to travel, grow her business, make new friends, and find her value when she was waiting for a man who had stopped picking her years before. If that ring is no longer there, perhaps it's best that way. Now, something made stronger is taking the place of what was destroyed by fire. People reacted strongly to the story when it surfaced in fan forums, not because they were shocked, but rather because it matched the sentimental tone of Kody's recent deeds. Many people think it's a perfect fit for how aloof and contemptuous he became toward Meri, Janelle, Christine, and their grown kids. Even though it never actually happened, some people think that this myth symbolizes or emotionally expresses what he wanted he could do. Because he already melted the ring, not in a fire, but in neglect, in every manner that counts. The truth is still unknown. It was not verified by any cameras. No one in the family publicly admitted it. Like sentimental mythology, it is hinted at, whispered, and transmitted through talks between superfans and insiders. Perhaps it actually happened. Perhaps it was a symbolic event. Perhaps it had nothing to do with a ring, but rather with power. Even though we never see the proof, often the most compelling stories are the ones that seem real because they capture the truth. And in Kody and Meri's bigger story, it fits too perfectly. Whether it's metaphor or molten metal, the message is the same. Kody Brown wanted to make sure Meri had no more emotional, metaphorical, or spiritual claim on him. This went beyond a marriage ending. It was a bond being buried. The initial wife became a historical footnote at that point. The dream they created together was doomed. Nevertheless, Meri lived. She didn't get burned. She remained solid. She didn't break down. She survived the fire and emerged unharmed. All that a ring is metal. Meaning, though, fire is meaning. Furthermore, the most brutal ends are occasionally those that occur silently. Kody may have melted the ring. Perhaps he didn't. The actual devastation, however, occurred long before any metal was heated in any way that matters.